So yeah, I just want to talk about an issue that hasn't received as much attention. Obviously, there's been a lot to talk about with the conflict in Iran. But one of the things I was just reading about today and kind of looking into was the state of morale of the troops, particularly the troops stationed at sea in this conflict on the U.S. side. And photographs are emerging of the meals that they have available to them on board, various warships. And you'll see these viral images of a little square of ground meat and this kind of grayish looking tiny little tortilla shell, and that's it. That's what they get for like the day. And of course, you know, it's not it's not surprising to see that military don't eat five-star meals on board, carriers and submarines and such. But you know, there have been major concerns about the shortages of food and other supplies on these ships, and those shortages, point to the fact that not only shortages are normal in war, right? War by its very nature often happens without warning. Although the U.S. technically started it, but they often start without a lot of ability to advance, prepare. It's far away, supply lines are long, all those things are true. But at the same time, if the U.S. were to engage in a conflict with China over, say, sovereignty of Taiwan, that's also far away. And China, China's watching this war, probably somewhat stunned at the way it's being prosecuted, the wasteful way it's being prosecuted, the uncoordinated and disorganized way it's being prosecuted. The fact that not only have the U.S. run out of a lot of their high-priced munitions, but they're running out of food. They can't feed people. I think if you think about China's appetite and ability to wage war in Taiwan, obviously Taiwan's a lot closer to China geographically. Supply lines would be a lot shorter. The U.S. clearly has trouble formulating a strategy that sticks. They've gone back and forth between extreme threats of genocide and then backing off and saying everything's going great and we're negotiating with this person, but this person doesn't maybe exist. We're putting a blockade on top of a blockade. Talks are going great, talks are falling apart. That kind of lack of focus is going to be a big, big challenge in a war with another superpower, because Iran's obviously not a superpower. Where China has a huge military. They have, arguably a better navy. And one of the huge advantages China has over the U.S., aside from proximity to Taiwan, is, as we all know, like if you look around your house, a lot of your stuff is made in China. They have a manufacturing base that is unparalleled around the world. As they run low on supplies, munitions, whatever, they can ramp up very, very fast to build that again, whereas the U.S. can't, and has proven itself unable to do so. So yeah, it's feel for the people who are over there eating one tiny miserable meal a day, literally in some cases going hungry, for a day at a time. In the service of this war that really has no clear objective, and unfortunately is kind of exposed to the world how poorly a $1 billion or trillion dollar military can prosecute a war like this.